Hello everybody, how are you all? I hope you are all in the pink of your health, following the necessary precautions to keep the pandemic COVID-19 at bay. Shall we enter into the enchanting world of poetry? This year, you are going to study 6 poems from the textbook Reflections. The poems that are prescribed for your study in the textbook Reflections are written by poets of national and international fame. Reflections. How significant the title of the textbook is. I hope you all know that reflection is an image in a mirror or on the shiny surfaces or on water. But reflection also means that a careful thought about something, sometimes over a long period of time. Reflections are also the written or spoken thoughts about a particular topic. Reflection is also a description or an account of something. From this perspective, isn't poetry too a reflection? Well, this leads us to an interesting question. What is poetry? As you are new to pre-university course and in your first year, let me talk a few lines about poetry. According to Edgar Allan Poe, poetry is the rhythmic creation of beauty. Saundaryada layabadha abhivyakti. For Samuel Taylor Coleridge, it is the best words in the best order. Atyuttama padagala kramabadha jodane. According to Robert Frost, poetry is what is lost in translation. He also says that politics is about grievance, while poetry is about grief. ರಾಜಕಾರಣ ಕುಂದುಕೊರತೆ ದೂರುಗಳ ಕುರಿತಾಗಿದ್ದರೆ ಕವಿತೆ ದುಮ್ಮಾನದ ಕುರಿತು ಶೋಕದ ಕುರಿತು ಇರುತ್ತದೆ ಎಂಬುದಾಗಿ ರಾಬರ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ. ರಾಬರ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ continues, when an emotion has found its thought and thought has found its words, what we get is poetry. One of the finest poets of English literature, William Wordsworth, has this to say: poetry is the spontaneous overflow of feelings that takes its origin from emotion recollected in tranquility. ಪ್ರಶಾಂತವಾದ ಮನಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಅನುಭವಿಸಿದ ಭಾವವೊಂದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮನಸ್ಸಿಗೆ ತಂದುಕೊಂಡು ಆಗ ಉಂಟಾಗುವ ಉಕ್ಕಿ ಬರುವ ಭಾವನೆಗಳ ಪ್ರವಾಹವೇ ಕಾವ್ಯ. ಇದು ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ವರ್ತನ ಅಭಿಮತ. However, it is difficult to present a definition which is acceptable to all. So, to conclude, let me quote one definition by an Italian poet, a Nobel Prize laureate, Quasimodo, Salvatore Quasimodo. He says, poetry is the revelation of a feeling which the poet believes to be his own personal and internal, but the reader feels that it is his own too. Well, why should we read poetry after all? Of course, you all know that poetry is for appreciation, enjoyment. But appreciation of what? Appreciation of beauty. Beauty of what? Appreciation of beauty of a feeling, a thought, an imagination, language, rhythm, and beauty. Well, what we get after reading poetry? Well, we get to know about ourselves and the world around us better. We taste the reality of life differently. It takes us to the new world of awareness and perception. It leads us to understand ourselves better, and it presents its mysteries in its own way, thereby enriching our maturity and leading to perfection and understanding of life. ಕವಿತೆ, ಇದನ್ನು ಓದುವುದರಿಂದ ನಮಗೇನು ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ? ಕವಿತೆಯನ್ನು ಓದುತ್ತಾ ಓದುತ್ತಾ ನಾವು ಹೊಸದೊಂದು ಲೋಕದೊಳಗೆ ಪ್ರವೇಶಿಸುತ್ತೇವೆ. ಕವಿಯ ಭಾವನೆಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಜಗತ್ತನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನಾವು ಇನ್ನೂ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೇವೆ. ಕವಿತೆ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಪ್ರಬುದ್ಧತೆಯ ಕಡೆಗೆ, ಪರಿಪಕ್ವತೆಯ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಕರೆದೊಯ್ಯುತ್ತದೆ. ಕ್ರಮೇಣ it becomes the part of our wisdom. Today we are going to discuss the first poem of the textbook, The Schoolboy. It is written by one of the greatest visionary poets of English literature, William Blake. William Blake is considered the senior-most and the foremost figure in the field of romantic literature. The big six poets of romantic literature besides William Blake are William Wordsworth, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Lord Byron, P.B. Shelley, and John Keats. Each of these poets stood for certain principles which I am not going to discuss today. I told you that William Blake was a visionary poet. At the age of 4, he had the vision of God peeping through the window of his house. At 10, he had the vision of a tree full of angels, bright winged angels bespangling on every bough like stars. It is also said that when his brother Robert died, he had seen his brother Robert's released soul ascend heavenward through the matter-of-fact ceiling, clapping its hands for joy. Born in Soho, William Blake was brought up in a humble background, being the son of a hosier who used to prepare stockings, socks, and other things. He could not afford his son to send to expensive schools or colleges. William Blake left his school at the age of 10 and joined a drawing school. Unfortunately, he could not continue his education even there because it proved too costly for the family. At the age of 14, William Blake became an apprentice to an engraver by name James Bessiah, with whom he worked for the next 7 years. At 21, William Blake joined the Royal Academy to learn painting, only for a short period of time. At 21, he became an independent painter, printer, and engraver. During his lifetime, William Blake was known in England more as an artist than as a poet. His paintings on the Book of Job and Dante's Divine Comedy are considered the masterpieces in the world of art. William Blake also occupies the 38th place in the all-time greats of Britain, a survey conducted by BBC. But only after his death, William Blake was presented as a poet to the world. Some of his best books are The Poetical Sketches, The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, The Songs of Innocence, The Songs of Experience, An Island in the Moon, A Prophecy, The Visions of the Daughters of Albion, The Song of Laws, and The Book of Urizen. William Blake married an illiterate, Catherine Sophia Boucher, whom he taught how to read, write, color, and paint. Catherine Sophia Boucher proved to be an extremely useful and invaluable companion throughout his life. During his dying moments, in his deathbed, William Blake told his wife, "Stay, Kate, keep just as you are. I shall draw your portrait, for you have ever been an angel to me." William Blake, after completing the portrait of his wife, lays down his tools, promises his wife that he would always be with her, and starts singing hymns in praise of Lord Jesus, and breathes his last at 6 p.m. on 12th August 1827. One of the attendants at that time who was in the house, she exclaimed, "I have been a witness to the death, not of a man, but of a blessed angel." William Blake once wrote, "Thank God I never was sent to school to be flogged into following the style of a fool." William Blake later acknowledges that his humble upbringing allowed his creativity to flourish. The poem Schoolboy is a beautiful testimony to this fact. The Schoolboy, written by William Blake, was published in 1789 in the collection of poems Songs of Experience. This is a poem of 30 lines having 6 stanzas, each stanza having 5 lines with the rhyme scheme A, B, A, B, B. This poem falls into the genre called pastoral, where most of the incidents mentioned take place in a rural setting. Each stanza represents nature in its vivid forms. The first three stanzas of the poem reveal the likes and dislikes of the schoolboy, while the last three stanzas pose 7 questions asked to his parents and to the whole world. Today, let me read out the poem first. The Schoolboy. I love to rise in a summer morn, when the birds sing on every tree. The distant huntsman winds his horn, and the skylark sings with me. Oh, what sweet company! But to go to school on a summer morn, oh, it drives all joy away. Under a cruel eye outworn, the little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. Then at times I droop in sit and spend many an anxious hour. Nor in my book can I take delight, nor sit in learning's bower, worn through with a dreary shower. How can the bird that's born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child when fears annoy but droop his tender wing and forget his youthful spring? Oh, father and mother, if birds are nipped and blossoms blown away, and if the tender plants are stripped of their joy in the springing day by sorrow and care's dismay, how shall the summer arise in joy, or the summer's fruits appear? Or how shall we gather what griefs destroy, or bless the mellowing ear, when the blasts of winter appear? When the blasts of winter appear. Dear students, just ponder over the theme of the poem. Just contemplate on it. Well, now let us study each stanza one by one. Let me read out the first stanza once again. I love to rise on a summer morn, when the birds sing on every tree. The distant huntsman winds his horn, and the skylark sings with me. Oh, what sweet company! It is clear that the schoolboy is a great lover of nature. His true self is introduced in the very first stanza. He loves to rise at the peep of day on summer mornings. He likes to listen to the sweet sound of birds that sing from each and every branch of the trees. Even the distant huntsman's horn, too, is very pleasing to his ears. When the singing bird, skylark, starts singing, he too feels like singing. He thinks that skylark sings for him and with him. No doubt, he enjoys the sweet company of nature. Just study the nature of this schoolboy. He is attracted by the beauty of nature, who cannot sit inside the house or sleep long hours even after daybreak. He loves to rise early when the birds get up and twitter all over. He easily connects himself with the music of nature, the song of birds, the distant huntsman's horn, the trees, and the schoolboy. They're all in tune with one another. He feels as if he is a part of divine symphony created by nature. He wants to get lost in that world of enchantment. He wants to listen to the mellifluous songs of birds, the skylarks, all the time. How sensitive is this schoolboy? When he forgets himself and the entire world around him, concentrating just on the music of nature, what happens is his internal self and the external self merge into one single whole, and he feels like a state like trance. Probably William Blake is hinting that little children are capable of a higher level of existence which the elders cannot reach. Perhaps he is suggesting that not just the schoolboy, all children easily tuned to the nature. They are the high priests of nature, like Wordsworth. Perhaps that may be the reason why Wordsworth called children, the child is the father of the man. Does this happy state of existence last long? Long enough throughout the day, throughout the year, throughout life? Let us find out from the next stanza. Let me read out it once again. But to go to school on a summer morn, oh, it drives all joy away. Under a cruel eye outworn, the little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. See the plight of the boy who has been enjoying the sweet company of nature. What happens to him? All of a sudden, he is pulled down towards the artificial world of human beings. He cannot tolerate this attack on his soul. He keeps concentrating on the music of nature while his elders, parents, teachers want him to be at school. The very thought of going to school drives his joy away. It is as if an umbilical cord between him and the Mother Nature is cut all of a sudden, mercilessly. That is why the free-flying soul of the child that has been sipping the sweet nectar of music of nature refuses to step into the world of mere mortals, the teachers with the flesh and blood, and things like desks, benches, and chalk pieces. How wearisome it would be to such a sensitive boy. Just imagine. He calls the eyes of teachers cruel, outworn, Outworn literally means out of date, exhausted, but they appear cruel to the schoolboy because they impart no love, affection. There is no warmth in it. That is why he feels the eyes of teachers outworn, outdated, cruel. The little ones spend the day in sighing and dismay. Observe the phrase, the little ones. Now, he is not talking about himself. He is talking about his classmates who are with him. Their plight is like him only. They are also sad, dull, morose. The two words, sighing and dismay, clearly reveal the helplessness, hopelessness of the students. The dismay expression implies that the schoolboys sit in the class disheartened, dispirited. The schoolboy ಕವಿತೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುವ ಬಾಲಕ ಸೂರ್ಯೋದಯಕ್ಕೂ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಸುಕಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಏಳಬಯಸುವವನು. ದೂರದಿಂದ ತೇಲಿ ಬರುವ ಹಕ್ಕಿಗಳ ಹಾಡಿಗೆ ಕಿವಿಯಾಗ ಬಯಸುವವನು. ದೂರದಿಂದ ಬೇಟೆಗಾರನೊಬ್ಬ ತನ್ನ ತುತ್ತೂರಿಯನ್ನು ಶಂಖವನ್ನು ಮೊಳಗಿಸಿದಾಗ ಅದರ ಸವಿಯನ್ನು ಆನಂದಿಸುವವನು. ಸ್ಕೈಲಾರ್ಕ್ ಎಂಬ ಹಾಡು ಹಕ್ಕಿ ಹಾಡತೊಡಗಿದಾಗ ಅದು ತನಗಾಗಿಯೇ ಹಾಡುತ್ತಿದೆ ಎಂದು ಭಾವಿಸುವವನು. ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯ ಸಂಗೀತದ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬೆರೆತು ಹೋಗ ಬಯಸುವವನು. ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯ ಲಾಸ್ಯವನ್ನು, ಸೌಂದರ್ಯವನ್ನು ಸವಿಯ ಬಯಸುವ ಸೂಕ್ಷ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನ ಬಾಲಕ ಈ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಬಾಯ್. ಬಹಳ ಸುಲಭವಾಗಿ ಆತ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯ ಏರಿಳಿತಗಳ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸಂವಾದವನ್ನು ನಡೆಸಬಲ್ಲವನು. ಕೇಳುತ್ತಾ ಕೇಳುತ್ತಾ ಆಲಿಸುತ್ತಾ ಅದಾವುದೋ ಒಂದು ಭಾವ ವಲಯಕ್ಕೆ ಏರಬಲ್ಲವನು. ಪ್ರಾಯಃ ವಿಲಿಯಂ ಬ್ಲೇಕ್ ಇದು ಶಾಲಾ ಬಾಲಕನೊಬ್ಬನಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರವಲ್ಲ, ಉಳಿದವರೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾಗುವ ಸಂಗತಿ, ಉಳಿದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪುಟಾಣಿಗಳಿಗೂ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾಗುವ ಸಂಗತಿ ಎಂದು ಸೂಚಿಸುತ್ತಿರುವಂತಿದೆ. ಬ್ಲೇಕ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯ ಆರಾಧಕರು. ವಿಲಿಯಂ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ವರ್ತನಂತೆ, ವಿಲಿಯಂ ವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ವರ್ತ್ ದ ಚೈಲ್ಡ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಫಾದರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಮ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವುದು ಈ ಅರ್ಥದಲ್ಲಿಯೇ ಇರಬೇಕು. ಆದರೆ ಎರಡನೆಯ ಚರಣ ಶುರುವಾಗುವುದೇ ಬಟ್ ಎಂಬ ಪದದ ಮೂಲಕ. ದ ಲಿಂಕರ್ ಬಟ್ represents that the situation will not be so in the future. All of a sudden, the child is catapulted into the world of artificial men and women. ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬೆರೆತು ಹೋಗುತ್ತಿದ್ದಂತಹ ಬಾಲಕನನ್ನು ಇದ್ದಕ್ಕಿದ್ದಂತೆ ಕೃತಕವಾದ, ಯಾಂತ್ರಿಕವಾದ, ಏಕತಾನತೆಯಿಂದ ಕೂಡಿದ ತರಗತಿಯ ಕೊಠಡಿಯೊಳಗೆ ನೂಕಿದಂತಹ ಅನುಭವ. ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳೇ, ದ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಬಾಯ್ನ ಪಾಡನ್ನು ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಊಹಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಶುರುವಾಗುವುದು ಮನುಷ್ಯ ಪ್ರಕೃತಿಯಿಂದ ದೂರ ಸರಿಯತೊಡಗಿದಾಗ. ವೆನ್ ವಿ ಸ್ಟೇ ಅವೇ ಫ್ರಮ್ ನೇಚರ್, ವಿ ಲೂಸ್ our joy, freedom and enlightenment. That is what is happening to the schoolboy here. ಸರಿ, ಮುಂದೇನು? ಮೂರನೆಯ ಚರಣವನ್ನು ನೋಡೋಣ. Then at times I droop and sit, and spend many an anxious hour. Nor in my book can I take delight, nor sit in learning's bower, worn through with the dreary shower. The schoolboy sits in the classroom, drooping, losing all enthusiasm, disheartened, dispirited, dropping his shoulders on the desk many a time. ಈ ನಿರುತ್ಸಾಹ ಯಾಕೆ? ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಮುಂದಿನ ಸಾಲನ್ನು ಗಮನಿಸಿ. And spend many an anxious hour. He is not happy in the classroom because it creates anxiety in him, and the anxiety is not of a short duration. It extends to many hours till the last bell rings. The student is restless. This is implied by the expression many an anxious hour. He is restless because he doesn't feel at home. He doesn't enjoy the lackluster walls, the old furniture, and the authoritarian ways of teaching of the teachers. ಹಿಂದಿನ ಚರಣವನ್ನು ನೆನಪಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಕ್ರೂಯಲ್ ಐ ಔಟ್ವೋನ್, ಅದರ ಮುಂದಿನ ಭಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ. Nor in my book can I take delight. It doesn't mean that the schoolboy doesn't read books or love books. He is made to sit in a particular place which he doesn't like. That is why he doesn't want to read. It may be as a token of his protest against the formal system of schooling. Nor sit in learning's bower. Bower literally means a pleasant, secluded place under the shade of cool trees in a wood or forest. See the irony of the situation. Bower is pleasant, but the learning's bower for the schoolboy is extremely unpleasant, because no real learning takes place there. He's never given an opportunity to express himself. There is no freedom of movement or expression. At school, his needs and necessities are not met. His opinions are never called for or cared for. His ideas, imaginations find no place whatsoever in the classroom. His dignity is violated. His presence is marginalized. The only dictator in the classroom is the teacher with cruel eyes and canes in hands. One more thing. See the last line. Worn through with a dreary shower. Shower, you all know. But this shower is not of rain or water. It is of shower of words. Monotonous, continuous, incessant shower of words, lectures, lessons, homework. That is why it is dreary, tiresome. He cannot sit in that learning's bower for long. His mind keeps roaming somewhere in the forest, somewhere in the cool glades of the forest, valleys, mountains. Though he is physically present, mentally he is absent from the class, a situation of many students even today.